Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L coming in to talk about Slime Season 2, Episode 2 officially, kinda Episode 1. Didn't make an Episode 1 video because I didn't have anything good to say for Episode 1. Episode 1 was a pretty standard reintroduction. Episode 1 was a pretty standard reintroduction. Episode 1 was a pretty standard reintroduction. Episode 1 was a nice reintroduction. I mean, it's the first chapter of a volume, so they're bringing back the characters, they're reminding readers of the characters, they're reminding us what we were doing last time, they're setting Rimuru up to be safe to do whatever he needs to do for this volume. So, you know, standard re-entry into the volume type chapter. Episode 2, we had quite a few more things going on, and there are a lot more cool little things to talk about, though Episode 1 had its little moments as well. For Episode 1, I will say the things that just stick to me from what I recall. Bringing up the brandy when we have what was his name? Yom, I think. When he and his party came back, we had the other goblin get Gobuta's buddy getting his name right there. That's important. The fact that other goblin is being brought up, that's just a little bit of a build-up going on there. And then other thing, I really like the tiger girl that was introduced. I thought she was really cool. She was a cool design. I'm a fan of monster girls. It was great. And I found it funny that we went directly into combat, but it's a world of monsters. Monsters, this is just how it goes, right? It's anime. Combat's everywhere, whatever. Anyway, so this review is going to be a top moment style review, just because that gives structure, and we'll go through the best moments in the episode. So, first, quick little recap. We had trade with the animal kingdom. The gist of the episode was we had the fight continuing. Then we find out that they were testing Tempest, just giving us a little context as to why the fight was happening. Then we had relationships officially being established and having some nice trade agreements happening regarding fruit in exchange for alcohol. We got to see the delegates from Carry On going back to the country while some others stayed to learn crafting, so you know, mutual aid between the two kingdoms. Towards the end we had Yom leaving and Benimaru returning, and we got to see Rigor getting diplomatic accolades. From there we go to the dwarves, and after that we have a scene with Clayman. Pretty much just tells us, okay, you know, he's going to be a relevant force in this season. We also saw the girl that's in the opening who's most likely going to be entangled with Yom. So, cool stuff. We're still in a heavy setup phase, but we did conclude some of the first little elements that were introduced in episode 1 when Benimaru shows up. Now, in terms of top moments, these are the moments that I think are the notable ones. First, Shion's magic that she can't control. We had 2 showcases of that in the episode, and honestly, really funny, really enjoyed it. I do think this is a little bit of a statement going on here. It might be a little bit of a reintroductory statement, or just a little thing to tell us where exactly Shion is in her power development. If you look at what was being said in the episode, we saw Shion using really aggressive magic, and we also had people pointing out that she's almost as strong as Benimaru, so she's roughly second in the whole power hierarchy within that group. That's really important. It does seem like Shion's lack of control and her overflowing magic in general is going to be relevant as we go forward. Now, it might still just be a little bit of a a nice update note, just telling the viewers, hey, just remember this girl has this situation going on. But it is really interesting that you have 2 examples of her magic going out of control, or she can't control it in the episode. The first one being with the ball and the second one being during her tantrum. Really interesting. I do hope it goes somewhere cool. One thing we can say for sure is that Shion is pretty much getting she's getting a little bit of an arc, right? She's going to get a little bit of a power development arc. If by the end of the season she has full control on her massive magic, that'll be pretty great. So I'm looking forward to it. The next top moment, the Lamia form beast transformation. I like the design. I also like her. Monster girls they're just great. It was cool to see the beast transformations. We had another example of it with the tiger girl turning into a full tiger. But yeah, no, I thought it was really cool. I think it'd be cool if Rimuru had some of those kind of creatures in his town as well. It might not happen, but it's still cool design, cool power, cool to see a Lamia. Next top moment, the brandy becoming relevant. It's a good bargaining piece. So this was just really cool because it was something that was set up in the first episode of the season, and we got to see it pay off immediately. It did become a little bit of a plot device because it's something that helped ease tensions. And again, it's ultimately a bargaining piece. So it was cool to see, it's always cool when you have an isekai doing we made something new and we're taking advantage of this new factor that we brought into the world. Next top moment, which is mostly just a fun little thing. Kobe's the goodest dog. That was a really cute thing, bringing in the Cobalt. I thought it was really cool. And it's cool that Rimuru in general trusts him. But yeah, Kobe, absolutely great. I don't think he had to be afraid. I think he did a great job from what it sounds like. Next top moment, and this is having to do with bringing new ideas into the world. The magic rune. Now, personally, I love this kind of mechanism. I always love seeing magic technology. In Isekai, sometimes the characters are bringing in just flat out machinery from the real world, but I love when they're actually able to integrate, well, like the magic. I love that they were able to integrate a rune into a faucet and make a heating system. I am much more interested in those kind of melds when it comes to isekais, and it's always good to see one. Definitely a good note for Slime. Next top funny moment, Yom getting brought into training with Hakuro. I mean, it was a good shot in general. Next top moment, Carry-On's agriculture. So this is actually a really cool detail, because one thing that I really enjoy when it comes to isekai is when the isekai characters, or when the main character respects the other world or the fantasy world. Carry-On having agriculture that Rimuru doesn't have, it's really important, because it just says, hey, you know, there's still room to learn. These people of the isekai world, they're not just helpless idiots, which we know is something that happens quite often in lower tier isekai. So that's why when you see an example of, hey, they're actually really good at living off the land, it's worth keeping in mind. Because God, man, can you imagine? There's so many isekai that make a plot point out of crop rotation, a technique that people figured out years and years and centuries ago. So, you know, it's always good when you see a country that understands how to do agriculture well enough that everyone's impressed by it. Man, we could do without the crop rotation plot point. Moving on. Next up moment was Benimaru, true to form, picking fights with Carry-On and Phobio. That's just funny, especially removes a reaction, considering that the episode started with friendly fighting. It's funny how Rimuru says that Benimaru should never be let loose in the world, when in context, you know, this is probably just the way that monsters behave with each other. So this is like, Rimuru does have a little bit of a skewed judgment. Like, very often, Rimuru's judgment is the point of annoyance for Great Sage. We don't really, well, we've seen little glimmers of that before, but it's things like that. Like, he talks about, like, his judgment is there, which is also really good that we get to hear his inner thoughts on it, but it's just funny. It's funny. It's one of those moments that makes you think, but you were okay picking a fight too. You got, like, really played as well. But this is consistent with Rimuru's character. He's kind of oblivious to how bad he is when it comes to overlooking little details, or when it comes to exercising good judgment. And I do hope we get to see more of it towards the end of the season. Next top funny moment was Ranga going faster. I had to watch that spot 3 times because I thought I was misreading, but it's like, no. Rimuru told Ranga to not go that fast. And the guy went faster. It was a good moment. Next top moment, Shion's tantrum. So this was in general cute. I found it really cute. I think they're doing a really good job showing Shion's vulnerability, I guess is the best way to say it. It's showing her innocent nature here. It's showing her, like, a little bit of an idiot tendencies. Like, you know, she's just a little bit... Yeah, that's actually it. Like, I think actually Rimuru has referred to her as an idiot before. She's just a lovable idiot. So, again, though, this is one of those spots where her magic went out of control. I am very interested, because that's 2 instances of it. That's very purposeful. Interested to see where exactly that goes. But I do think they're pumping up her vulnerability. I think these scenes are going to be very important for the future of the current season. Moving on. We had a nice wholesome moment with Gale. It was cool to touch bases with him and see what he was doing. He's rebuilding the road. I like this moment because we got to see the guys get really happy when Rimuru gave them beer. I think it's really good for a town building anime. Always really nice to see the troops getting, well, appreciated. This is how you maintain loyalty. No one's going to want to say no to the guy giving them alcohol. Then we go into the dwarves, where we end off the episode more or less. I just want to say I still love the art for the dwarf city. And after that, we have Clayman doing his stuff in the background. Clayman's going to be clearly the overarching villainous plot for the maybe first 5 episodes. Maybe, like, actually, depending on how long he goes. Because there's a volume, he's definitely going to be the villain for the, or like, he's going to be the villain in the background for the situation for, I think, if we're adapting 4 episodes to a volume, fair to say, like, his machinations are going to be there for the first 4 episodes. dependent on how long, because Clayman's like a long-term villain. I'm not sure how much longer he'll go for because I don't remember exactly the material. But right now it looks like he's moving a girl whose heart he owns. So what we're seeing here is just Clayman being more of a manipulator behind the scenes, which is just par for the course. Now this girl is showing up in the opening. She has a significant scene with Yom. I'm actually very excited to see this all play out. It's going to be really cool. I really hope we're going to get some really shippable moments here. Speaking of shippable moments, we get a lot of just general cuteness between Rimuru's two main girls, that being Shuna and Shion. But yeah, man, ultimately, I think wholesome episode. I think it was cool. I think it was relatively information heavy. There was a lot of notable moments here that are really important, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen with the dwarves next week. I'm interested a little bit in the politics this time around. Guys, let me know what you thought down below for this episode, and until next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.